Welcome to Insight with Moonshadow. I am Moonshadow, an integrative holistic therapist, intuitive shaman, interfaith minister, and chief evangelist with over 30 years of experience in the healing field in the U.S. as well as internationally. My intention is to help you connect to your inner self as well as you connect into the world around you. Now, bringing up this special edition of Insight with Moonshadow has bringing up a new full moon coming up. So working with grandmother moon energy, I have actually had a show manifesting with grandmother moon, but also too, there is so many different rituals that you could do within the moon phases. And welcome all of you that are here. I appreciate you being here at last minute. We have Christopher and we have Ty. Thank you so much for coming in. With this last minute Insight with Moonshadow. Technology does happen. Yeah, go figure. But thank you. I'm glad that you guys can hear me and see me. Now, coming up tomorrow, now with the phases of the moon, of course, different phases of the moon, you can do different things. So with the new moon, you can actually do new adventures, new journeys, new things, new projects. If you want to bring something new or bring new inspiring juju into your life, you can utilize the new moon. Now, that being said, you are not stuck with just the phases of the moon. You could work within any of the phases. The difference is where it's more specific or less specific. That's the real difference here. I'm a big fan of actually working with full moon energy, because I don't always catch the new moon every single time. So working with full moon, you have it at its full entire power. You have it at 100%. So I'm sure that there are many people that work with the full moon and work with the moon phases, sometimes without even knowing about it. So that's also kind of interesting, because you may be living a spiritual and sacred life without even being aware. Your intuition kind of kicks in when it needs to, and that kind of thing. And I'm sure that's proof positive with you, Ty. So all of us do work within our instincts and our intuition. Now, with the full moon coming up on Saturday, now at this point, the full moon would have been done and over with, so we got looking at a new moon towards Monday. So this is one of the reasons why I decided to put together this, quick, last minute show for the full moon ritual. Now, there are things with the world as it is today. There's a lot of crazy things that are happening, and I'm sure we can all agree. And the energy, if you are an empath or you're an intuitive, there's a lot of work that we need to do. So we're looking at a lot of chaos, a lot of negative energy within the world. It seems like the world's going to hell in a handbasket. It looks like everything is being affected. However, you as a person, you can make a lot of changes in your world, and in your little piece of the world, you can make some major change. And working with the phases of the moon can really do that. Now, working with the full moon, what I like about working with full moon energy, you're working at 100%. So if you're looking at wanting to build something, it's 100%. There's no joke. It's not gray. It's black and white. It's like hardcore, full power, 100%. You're doing this. So it makes you commit. And it's at its full capacity energetically. So coming up on Saturday, we have this full moon. Now, question, is there anything that's not really working out for you? Are there things that you need to cleanse or purge in your life presently? Now, unless you've been living under a rock or on a mountaintop somewhere in the Himalayas, we have negative influences happening. But the secret here is this. How do you cope with those influences? Are you going to be part of the solution, or are you going to be part of the problem? Are you going to piss and moan your way into this, fall into a depression, and really sink? Or are you going to climb from the bottom? Are you going to build on it? Are you going to take that adversity and move forward? All of that really makes a difference. And welcome, Gene. Welcome to the impromptu Insight with Moonshadow, episode 34.2. But see, this is the thing. We can take adversity and move that into the positive. And working with full moon, the phases of the full moon, you could really do a lot. Part of one of the things you can do, and I'm glad you're here as well, Gene. And I think it was appropriate that you're here today because I know things are not going fantastically well for you, and I can relate. Not to the degree that's happening with you, but we can all relate to some degree of how things are happening. And also we have Ty also in the room. Ty is also a very strong intuitive and healer as well. So definitely you want to reach out and you want to connect and you want to reach out to Ty if you don't know her already. So now with this, and I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you guys are here. Now, looking at the full moon, at this moment in time, I'm sure that there are at least, 3 to 6 things that you could purge on Saturday. There are things that are affecting you or cluttering you up or stopping you from being better. Not being quite 100%, right? So that being said, there are many different rituals and techniques that you can utilize. I'm only going to touch base on a few. However, this will give you the quick and dirty version of how you can get started on it. And as time progresses, I will be getting into more intermediate and advanced workings of shamanic work, as well as working with the moon and the different energies that are out there, working with your totems, working with your spirit animals, life protectors, angels, ascended masters. But for today, we're looking at purging and rebuilding. So now we're looking at this full moon on Saturday. So now this gives you time. This gives you a couple of days to really think about and be mindful. And you guys know I tend to definitely be a big evangelist about energy and about being mindful, about providing self-care, about taking care of yourself, about making your life as good as it can be. Because there's always room for improvement. There's always room to make things better. With a thought, with a deed, how you cope with things, all of that really makes a huge difference. So a lot of times we tend to take the bad and hold on to it. Like that old saying, misery loves company. But in the purging phase of being able to work with the full moon, we have the ability to truly let go and get rid of the things that are no longer serving us. We have the power. You have the essence and the energy. Because we are all spirits living a human experience, this is just, muscle and bone. This is skin. But the soul is what really shines through. Our soul is what gets us to where we need to be. Other than that, we will just be a pair of eyes, a nose, a mouth. What mechanism really gets us moving? It's our spirit. It's our soul, because that cannot be created nor destroyed. That energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Scientifically, it can't be created nor destroyed. So that being said, taking a look at how you cope with things is really, really important. And I am guilty of it as well. There are times when things are so bad and you can't get up. You just can't get up. You can't move forward. And this may seem like I'm a little off topic, but it's really not, because it's about this purging. Now, intuitively, I can tell you, Gene, that you are here for a reason. You are meant to make things happen. You are meant to be an advocate. You are meant to be someone that is a change maker. It may not be huge. It may not be like Richard Branson. It doesn't matter. It may not be like, Microsoft or big corporation. It doesn't matter. The point is, with what you do, and I'm familiar with your cause, if you change or help make one person get better, then you've made change. So all of us have our purpose. All of us have a life purpose, right? All of us do. Good or not, we all have a purpose, and life guides us along the way. Now, bringing this back to the full moon. Now, think to yourself, I'm challenging you here. What is stopping you from feeling better? It could be something physical. It could be a physical ailment. It could be your emotions. It could be your past. Now, let's think about this for a second. Since you cannot do anything about your past anymore, it's over. It's done. Can you go back and change it? There were lessons. There were lessons there. Sometimes harsh ones. Sometimes horrible ones. Right? But now, you can't be thinking about the future because it's not here yet. And you can't be thinking about the past because it's gone. It's history. It's gone. However, you have the now. You have this moment in time. And working with full moon rituals specifically, you could let go a lot of these things. So one technique you can utilize, you make a list. Now, the tools that you need for this is pretty simple for this particular technique. You need a fire-resistant bowl. You need a piece of paper and a pen, crayon, pencil, whatever you want. And you want to be mindful and thoughtful of what you no longer want in your life and what no longer is serving you. Your health could be ill. Your significant other. Financially, things may not be going as well as you want. All those things. Write them down. You can put on the top of that page, I release, I let go. And you write down everything. I'm talking everything. This is not something that you can write a novel if you want. Write it down on paper. You are creating and manifesting and putting this on paper. There's a magic and a juju that happens when you put things down on paper. They can become real in a good or bad way. It really depends. But in this case, what we're doing here is the ability, we're taking this energy and getting rid of it and purging it out of our lives completely and totally from this moment forward. So now if you go ahead and you write down everything that you want to let go, everything that you want to purge, and you want to do it mindfully. And if you do it mindfully, here's a little tip. Here's a little moonsight for you. As you're writing it down, you're going to feel, especially if you're empathic or are sensitive to energy, you're going to feel lighter. You're going to start to feel, you're going to get an emotional response as you're writing these things down, depending on how powerful and profound they are to you. As you write these things down on your list, and I send good juju to you, Eugene, and your husband's health as well, because I know that you have dealt with some serious adversity. Now write that down. all the things that you no longer want, no longer serves you, no longer is part of your life. Get rid of it. It's no longer there. You are finally getting rid of this. This is so important. And then, as you're doing this, you write all this stuff down. And when you do it, you're going to find yourself. You're empowering yourself to make a change. So you make that list. You write everything down that no longer serves you, that's been holding you back. And you can even add, even if there's things that you're not really sure of that have been holding you back, things that are out beyond your periphery, you can go ahead and say, and the things that are invisible to me or I'm unable to see that are holding me back, invisible challenges or invisible adversities. You can even add that to your list. I release all those challenges in my life, all the things that are holding me back. Now, when you're working with that energy, you'll know when to stop. It's all like automatic writing. You'll know that sweet spot. You'll know when to be able to stop writing. And when you do, you take that piece of paper. Now, this is something that I utilize just because it's powerful and profound work, and it's simple and easy, and it's really, really easy to do. And it's just a very powerful and simple way to do it. You take that and you fold it and you light it up and you put this in the fire resistant bowl. And as you're doing this, affirm to yourself, I release it. Whether it's a prayer, you don't have to be any specific religion or walk of faith or any certain spiritual path. It's an affirmation. It could be a prayer. It could be an affirmation. It could be a statement. And you let go of it. And you let it go. As you're praying on that, and I also will incorporate utilizing my mala, which these are my mala beads here. Now these have 108 beads on them, but I have a smaller mala bead that I use for this purpose, which I think has about 18, 19 beads on it. But you say the affirmation, and that's just another way to make it even, to manifest even stronger, make it even more potent. But then you make sure, and you can't leave that unsupervised. Safety is important, right? So you let that burn to ash, completely to ash. And when you do that, you take those ashes and you bring them outside. You find a spot. It could be at the beach. It could be in your yard. You want to purge this. And this is making it even more physical, putting it even more physicality to this. And what you're doing is you're taking this and then you're putting this into the ground and you're burying it. And once you do that, then you're releasing completely, releasing these this negative influence that's going on in your life. So that's one way of doing it. Another technique of working with full moon ritual as well. And I would suggest working with many different methods. I'm working with some of the more simple ones today, just so you can implement it and remember it, and it doesn't take a lot. So another way of doing it as well. All you need is to be by water. Now you can do it in two different ways. I tend to be more organic and natural. So what I usually do is I go down by the water. Since I live near the water, I usually like going down by the beach, down by the water. You find a dark stone. And this is another way of purging. And we're working with the purging aspect at the moment, but then we'll also touch base on how to bring in, how to replace, and put good and put solid and put good juju into your life and replace it with good things as well. Okay. Make room for the new, for the good, for new changes. So now what you do is you go down by the water, you go down by the beach, and you take a dark stone, as dark as possible, black, or gray, but you will find it. It doesn't have to be any particular shape, but something where you have to just be able to hold it. And then what you can do is focus now what I usually do with that is I usually actually put it to my third eye and project it as if, visualize as if using like a laser beam, focus all of the things out through my body, through my third eye into the stone. Now, that's how I do it. You could do it different ways. Also, if you're out among public too, sometimes you want to be a little more subtle with it so people don't know. I myself, I don't care. I live out loud shamanically, so I really don't care. But what you can do is you can focus utilizing that and kind of put it towards your forehead, and you can kind of just hold it like that and kind of project it into the stone. Or you could also put it near your heart chakra, and hold a stone in your hand and project it from your heart chakra into the stone. And again, you'll be able to know and tell when you have that moment when you're done. You will know because you're projecting all of that gunk, all of that stuff that's stopping you up, all of that negative energy, all of that that's no longer serving you. You're projecting that. Now, this is a little different than writing the list. You're still being mindful, but it's more stream of consciousness with this method. And you're focusing on this and sending this into the stone. Now, when you feel that you're done, and a lot of people are actually very, very sensitive to energies, so they can tell when they're finished. You may feel tingling, you may feel light, you may feel lightheaded even, but depending on the intensity of how much you're focusing. Then once you do that, you say a prayer and affirmation for Mother Earth, God, whichever your spiritual preference is. Say a prayer or affirmation that is now gone, that all of the things that are imbued into the stone, it is no longer part of you to be part of your life. Whether it's the universe taking, if you want to go scientific route, or you want to go with God, you want to go with the, Christian, Jewish, shamanic, whichever way you want to go. There is no judgment here. But you're letting go and releasing, truly releasing this energy. And it's history. And then at that point, once you're done saying that affirmation, you throw it into the water and let it go. Now, let's say you don't live by the water. Say you live in the Midwest, and you're living in the middle of a desert, or you're living in a third world country, and you don't get the chance to get near water. That's okay. Because in utilizing this method, you can still do that. The difference is you're still going to get a stone, but instead you're going to get a bowl of water, and you're going to pray over the water, or you're going to affirm over the water, or energize or charge the water, and you're putting salt in it. So in essence, you're going to make, it's not going to be as organic, but it's still just as powerful. So you put salt in water and you just basically charge it. Imagine and focus in your mind's eye the power of the ocean, and send that energy into the bowl of water, the salt water, and do the same technique. You focus, and you can do that in the privacy of your own home, and you can do this at any time. You don't have to wait. You don't have to do this during a full moon, by the way. You can do this purging whenever you see fit, which is very, very cool. That's something you can do whenever you want. However, with the full moon ritual and how the moon affects and influences water, it's even more powerful. It's even stronger when you utilize that. So now if you do it that way and you're at home, you do it over a bowl and you do the same thing, focus either through your heart chakra, through your third eye, and project all of the things that are no longer serving you. Every single little thing that you could remember, that you could bring to mind. Be mindful and really be focused on what you're doing. You want to make sure that you don't have anything going on that's going to distract you. That this doesn't take long. You can do this in about 15, 20 minutes using that technique. And it depends on how much you have going on that you need to purge too. If it's just one thing, you can do it in 5. But now, when you focus and do that, then you go ahead and you put it into the water, and you leave this bowl out for the full moon to cleanse it and to clear it. And that also works incredibly powerfully as well. So it's all something that these are all little things that you can do to motivate or move yourself to be able to purge. Now, those are just the techniques just to get rid of, to release. Now let's think about bringing in good juju, bringing in good energy, doing the opposite. Now you're actually bringing something new, something good. You want to bring in that good energy. Now, utilizing the same techniques, you can utilize making a list of I bring in, or I attract, or I allow, or I invite. And then you write the list. And you're doing the exact same thing with a little bit of difference. There's a little bit of a difference here, and I'll get to that in a minute. So now you're making that list. So if you're going by the list method, you're writing everything down. Every single thing you're writing down what you want to bring in. And a lot of times I will do the purge, and I will do, in a full moon ritual, I will do the purge as well as the attractant, the negative, the getting rid of, as well as the bringing in, the manifesting. I will do both. Because as I release, then I can bring in and attract. So now if you're working with the attracting now, you make that list. And again, that list can be as long as you want. So now when you're ready, when you're done writing the list, you want to state that you're bringing in or attracting, you're attracting the things on this list. So I attract, I allow, I invite better health, more money, more positive people into my life. All of those things. All these are all things that you could attract to you, right? So now you go through the whole list and you mindfully think on every item on that list, and you take a second to really think about it and really feel it in your body, really feel it in your body, mind, and spirit. You want to feel it, and you go through the whole list. And then once you finish going through that whole list, you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to light it on fire. Now, granted, if you have ashes from previous, you want to wipe that out, because you don't want that energy in there, right? From the previous, from the purging of things. You want to get rid of that stuff. But when you do that, when you light it up, make sure it's lit down to ash. When you light it down to ash and it's nothing left, this is where it's different. If you have a potted plant, a plant that's doing well, that's growing strong, you make a small hole in the pot. Or if you have a garden, you can do it outside as well. Now you're bringing in, you're attracting. You take those ashes and you dig a small hole around that plant and then bury those ashes. Mix it up within the soil. And then this is the extra little bit here. This is the difference. You want to take really good care of that plant. You want to water that plant. You want to give it good energy, because that, utilizing shamanically and utilizing organically what is going on in life. What do you do if you don't have a plant? Okay, well, you can still put it in the ground. You can still put it in the ground, but it doesn't necessarily have, the plant is an added bonus. But also, too, say, for example, you don't have a plant. And thank you very much, Gene, for bringing that up. What you can utilize is this. Be mindful as you light this on fire, right? You light this up and it is smoke. You get smoke going on, right? And also, too, by the way, you don't want to be doing this around a smoke detector. Outside is good. And with the power, of course, with the full moon and the essence and the energy of the full moon, it's going to help you as well. So what you do is visualize that smoke reaching out into the universe, reaching out to God, right? Reaching out to the Great Spirit, reaching out to the universe, whatever your belief system is. So you don't necessarily have to use a plant. I tend to do both. I will put it in a plant, and I will also, while it's burning, I also send it off into the universe and send it off to the Great Spirit, send it off to Wankantanka to be able to bring to me and bless me and imbue me with all those positive things. So that's something that you could utilize as well. Now, the power of using the full moon is really, really huge. Now, if you really, really think about this for a second, what is the moon really about? Now, we are 98% water. So in thinking about that, if the moon affects the tides, doesn't that affect us as well? Because we have our ebb and flow, our energy, and our inner tides, so to speak, in our own bodies, right? So it's no wonder people go crazy. There's lunacy, lunatic, all these reasons, all these things, all these labels, all these things were revolving around the moon. Why? Because they felt, even, howling at the moon, all of that stuff, lycanthropy, right? It's very influenced. It influences water. So if you really, really think about that, and you're an Aquarius, go figure. So you're the water bearer. So you, and now being an Aquarius also too, you're going to be affected emotionally a lot stronger than some other people. So I would say Saturday, and I'm glad you're here. Maybe it's good that I decided to do this impromptu show today, because this is maybe simply for you to be able to do this so you can release, you can purge, and you can bring in all the good things that you need to bring in into your life. So I'm not only going to challenge you, Gene, but I'm going to tell you to do this. You need to do this. And anyone else that's in the room that would like to try a little bit of this, feel free. It's some powerful stuff. Definitely some powerful stuff. Awesome. So now looking at, and you can study, you can check using weather.com or whatever it is. There are apps that you could check out as well. They will tell you the phases of the moon. And then you can also look online and research how the moon phases and what they do, how they work. This is more of a simple show for the new introductory person that hasn't worked with it. But anyone that is that's used to working with moon medicine also will get something out of this, which is really, really important. So yeah, so now at this point, figuring out what you want to get rid of and utilizing the moon's energy, the moon's chi, to get rid of it. Now, a lot of the natives and tribal people considered the moon a relative, just like they considered totems kindred. So you can go ahead and leave it up to that. There's even, stories about the man on the moon, right? Because it looks like a face. And you see that quite often. But I tend to stick with grandmother moon. So now you can go ahead and you can take all of these things and you can purge what you need to purge, and you can bring in what you need to bring in. And all these things make a huge difference. You can make some serious changes in your life. And in doing that, you will be able to empower yourself, empower your soul to be able to get rid of the things that no longer serve you and to attract the things that do. So if you have people in your life that aren't really working, it's not really working out, the energy, you'll find them drop away. You'll find a change in the energy between you and them. I've had that happen. People that no longer served a good purpose in my life, they naturally just drifted off. I didn't have to address it in such a way, just because I put out an affirmation out there that anyone that isn't serving a good purpose or is out for harm, they no longer matter. You know, you send good healing energy their way so they could learn on their own, and then that's it. So that being said, utilizing this energy, the energy of nature, the organic energy of nature, you could do a lot of things. Also, you can clear things and imbue things and empower things, make things more sacred with moon energy, as well as sun, as well as the sun energy as well. But we'll touch base on that with another potential show, working with other elements. But this is something that you can do. You have a choice. You have the ability. You have the power and the juju and the energy to be able to make changes in your life. Now, granted, they may not happen right away. It may take a little while. But honestly, no different than like you've heard of the law of attraction. You could also focus. It's how things that got to happen in your life that are not great. But it's how you cope with it. It's how you deal with it that makes the difference. And then when you look at it from that perspective, then you could really utilize, if something isn't serving you, it's gone. It no longer matters. It's no longer important. It's time to get rid of it. So is being emotional going to help you? Well, sometimes it is. It's processing. Don't entertain it for too long. Like the Buddhist mindset, you can allow yourself to feel all the emotions, but don't entertain it for too long. You feel it, and then you move on from it. You process it, and then you release it. You don't entertain it. So at that point, looking at it from that perspective, coming up, so we have Saturday's full moon, and we're looking at towards Monday, we're going to have a new moon, right? So Saturday, it's going to be the fullest it's going to be. It's going to be at 100%. So Sunday will be the third day of the full moon, and then you have a new moon on Monday. So you can utilize a new moon ritual for Monday to bring new things in. So you can also do that as well. And the great thing about this, people, is we have every 28 days, every 28 to 30 days, you have the ability to do this all the time. So if you're working with the phases of the moon, you are actually have the ability and have the strength and have the extra boost, energy boost, to be able to bring things in or purge things, get rid of them. And if you can do that, and I suggest and I challenge and I guide you and I'm going to gently push you to do this. Why? Because very few people have it all good all the time. So you might be able to just say, get rid of a little something. I know quite a few people that I've worked with that they've had a lot of clutter. So what they did was they purged During a full moon, they would actually, the day of, within those 3 days, they would go into their junk drawers. They would go into those spare rooms, those guest rooms or whatever, where it's like the junk collecting rooms, where you have a bunch of stuff that you don't need, and get rid of it then. Because that gives you even more energy to be able to get rid of than purge things. Start with, need, want, get rid of pile kind of thing. So there's also that as well. There are so many different techniques and ways that you could go ahead and utilize the moon's energy or the sun's energy to clear and to move and to motivate and to change your life. There's so many different ways to do that. So this is all really, really important information. And granted, I'm not trying to change anyone. It's consider. All I can say is let it bounce around your brain a little bit. And if it works for you, fantastic. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine too. Because we all have our different life path. We all have our different purpose. And seeing you earlier in Periscope and also earlier as well, I've been able to, I've wanted to connect to be able to share these tidbits of information with you. So you can get rid of what isn't working for you anymore. And I think once you do that, once you accomplish that, I think it's going to be really, really powerful stuff. Because tomorrow's a new day. There's 24 hours in a day. So you may have a shit day for starting off. But as long as you realize the sun rises tomorrow, you have a new day. You have constant reminders of you could change your situation, whether it be by a little bit, a baby step, or a huge step. You have the ability to change your life in one way, shape, or form, even if it's just coping with it a little differently. And again, a lot of times I say to people, either you're part of the problem or part of the solution. So it's really up to you which wolf you want to feed. Do you want to feel the negative one, or if you want to feel the positive one? Do you want to be part of the solution and do what you can to make things better? Or do you want to be part of the problem and just piss and moan about it and not do anything? Think about that. This is pretty important stuff. Exactly. Because staying negative is not going to help you. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to make the change. If you continuously be on the negative side, it will continue to be negative all the time. And I'm not saying being fake. I'm not a big fan of the fake it till you make it kind of thing, honestly. I tend to be pretty realistic in what I do. But the thing is this: how you cope with it can be the big difference. It can be the game changer here. If you feel that you're gone and you feel that you're lost and you feel that you'll never win, guess what? You won't. You won't. So there's a saying, it's like whether you're right or wrong, I forget what the saying is. Whether you think things are bad or good, you're right. Right? And I wish I remembered that quote. But either way, you're correct. So if whatever you put out there, it's going to continue to manifest. So if you have a little bit of positivity, if there's something to be grateful for, if there's something that you can attract into your life, if there's a way that you can go ahead and make someone's life better, or shine light into someone's life, pay it forward. Random acts of kindness, whichever it may be. It's something. Every little bit matters. Every little bit matters. So now thinking about this, Now, at least at this point, you may be thinking about the moon a little differently. You may be thinking about when you walk out there in the world, it's a little different. You become a little more empowered by knowing this information. So again, if it works for you, take it, keep it, make it happen. If it doesn't work for you, that's cool too. Because you can't change the world, but you can help, you can help one person at a time, one moment at a time, 1 minute at a time. So all of that truly makes a huge difference, all of it does. So now in quick summary, we have Saturday, big, huge full moon on Saturday evening. Work with the full moon. You can check out this replay of this show to find out a couple of techniques to get rid of, to purge, and to be bringing up things in. So I would definitely invite to check out the show and replay it, because that way you'll be able to know and be able to actually do something proactive in helping your life, in either making things better, moving things in, getting rid of things, and working with this energy. And everyone coming in, hey Sadie, welcome. Mike, John. So these are all things that you could utilize working with the full moon. So I will be having this, I will be putting this up on my YouTube channel and my website relatively soon. So you can catch me, you can see my information is in my profile, where you can check it out on all my social media as well. So I do invite you to check it out further as well. So be more mindful and be more aware of what you can and cannot do into your life, what you can make, how you can improve your life. All these things, hey Alfredo, all these things really, really make a huge difference. You could really look at how you cope and how you deal with things from day to day, and how you can make the changes happen. So it doesn't matter if you're Buddhist, doesn't matter if you're Christian, doesn't matter if you're Catholic, doesn't matter if you're a scientist. You can utilize the energy through affirmation, through motivation, through prayer, in utilizing working with full moon. So I invite and challenge you guys to try it. What's the worst that can happen? It's not for you, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be for you. This is something that I share with you all, because the reason why I do this is to share, to learn from you. So that's a big part of why I do what I do. So now I invite you to try it out, to check it out. If you need something to purge, get rid of it. Focus on the full moon. Work with the moon phases to do that. You can pray, because if you think about it, the Creator created the moon as well, right? So you can look at it from all angles. This is not stuck with any particular belief system. If you don't want it to be, it's adaptable. So I invite you to try it. See what happens. See if it sticks. So I would like to close the show now, but thank you for all of you that have come in. I know this was an impromptu show, but seeing that the full moon was coming up on Saturday, and it's not usually on Monday where I usually have my show on Monday afternoons, I figured I would have this show come up and put this show out there for anyone that could utilize the full moon rituals to be able to get rid of what you don't no longer need and to bring in what you would like, attract what you want to attract into your life. So I want to thank all of you for spending time with me here on Insight with Moonshadow. All of you inspire me to do this work and to continue to have this show. Now, this is the 34.2, because I did have a show on Monday and technical glitches happened. However, this is 34 episodes. If you consider this one is probably 35 with glitches, but I appreciate all of you for being here and for being part of this adventure, being part of this journey, and all of you matter. So I send good juju to all of you, all your loved ones, and I hope and wish the best for all of you. So as I say every week, be strong, be amazing, be you. See you on Monday.